Insidious Chapter 5, or Fear the Dark, whatever the heck you want to call this thing, is just wrapped filming. Let's get into it.
Well, sometimes that is better.
Hey everybody, what's up? KillJoy Jake here, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. Today we're talking a little bit about the latest installment in the Insidious franchise. I am a massive fan of these movies, and I seriously cannot wait for this film. We have some big news regarding the movie, including some set pictures, they've just wrapped filming, and some maybe casting information. I also have a theory on who might be dead at these funeral pictures. Now, before we get into all of that, because wow, that's a lot, I'm gonna need y'all to like this video and subscribe for more horror content in the future. So first of all, I want to give a massive shout out to Chase Moser, whose YouTube channel you can find in the description of this video. He's a very good friend of the channel's and has helped me out a lot with some of these Insidious 5 updates. I just wanted to give him a massive shout out. Make sure to subscribe to his channel down here, and also something that's really cool about Chase is he's on the Goldbergs. He's like one of the side characters on that show, which is just like so cool to me. Like he's a really good friend. Make sure to check him out on the Goldbergs and also on his YouTube channel. But just to do a recap of everything we know so far of Insidious 5, which surprisingly isn't too much, Insidious 5 is slated to come out on July 7th of next year in 2023. I'm very excited for this film. I think the last installment was like it was really fun. I don't think it was the best installment, but I had a blast with it, and I was eager for more when the credits rolled on that. The thing that's so exciting about Insidious 4 too was it was the most successful film in the entire franchise. Like, not by like a little bit, no, by a lot. So Insidious 5 is shaping up to be yet another hit for Blumhouse, and possibly not even the last film in this franchise. This film will be Patrick Wilson's directorial debut, which is like really exciting. I think he has a massive like passion for this franchise. He loves the character of Josh Lambert, and he wants to come back and tell a brand new story with the character and the Lambert family, which the last two Insidious installments kind of didn't do anything with the Lambert family. So this new one will continue that timeline, spanning off of like 1 and 2. The script comes from Scott Teams, but the story overall was written by Leigh Whannell, who has written literally every other installment in this entire franchise. I'm ever so slightly concerned about the writing just because we have a different team of people doing it this time around, but I have faith that Leigh Whannell knows what he's doing. Scott Teams is going to pump out a good script, I hope. Insidious Chapter 5 will pick up with the Lamberts 10 years after the events of the second movie. The plot description reads, Josh Lambert, played by Patrick Wilson, heads east to drop his son Dalton off, played by Ty Simpkins, off at an idyllic, ivy-covered university. However, Dalton's college dream becomes a nightmare when the repressed demons of his past suddenly return to haunt them both. We have gotten some new set photos, but I actually got to report exclusively about a certain frat house setting that they're using for this movie. You can check out that video up here. But getting into the update here, Patrick Wilson, who plays Josh Lambert and like I said is the director of this new film, posted a big update on Instagram talking about how the film has already wrapped. With an ominous picture of a light bulb and the subtitle of the film, Fear the Dark, Patrick Wilson says, "Lights out on our next installment of the Insidious franchise. Second leg of the journey is done. Now on to post. To my entire cast and crew, thank you for the drive, the passion, and the hours. And a big thanks to all the partners, spouses, families, friends who dealt with our wacky schedule. Can't wait to show you all what we've been cooking up. Into the further we go." Now, something that the Bloody Disgusting article that I'm using for this video mentions is that the official title for Insidious 5 is technically not Fear the Dark. This is just the working title of the film. So the movie might not actually be called Insidious 5 Fear the Dark, which I just think is a little goofy. I actually like The Last Key. I think that works with the movie, and it's like kind of leading. It's interesting. What the last key of what? I want to know. Fear the Dark is just kind of like generic horror movie title to me, and I would much rather them just call it like Insidious Into the Further. I talked about in my last Insidious update that the original title for Insidious was The Further from Leigh Whannell, and they changed it to just the one word Insidious by James Wan's request, just because that's a little more interesting, but I've always thought like The Further would be a cool name for this franchise, even though Insidious is pretty fucking dope too. So to call this Insidious 5 Into the Further, I think would be pretty fitting and a nice little final chapter feel to it. Even though Patrick Wilson does say this is only the next installment, not the last one. So I don't think we've seen the last of the Lipstick Demon and the Lambert family just yet, man. There might be a 6th installment in our future. But the biggest thing I want to talk about in this video is all of these pictures of the Lambert family at a funeral. I posted this picture on my community story just to see what everyone was kind of thinking about this, because I have a theory about about it, but I feel like it's gonna go completely against what everyone else thought. And I was 100% correct, which is so funny. The general consensus is that most people think this will be Lorraine Lambert's funeral, who is of course played by Barbara Hershey in a fantastic role in these films. Very underrated performance from her in the first two movies. I am starting to think that maybe this is actually Carl's funeral, a character that most people forget about, but is so crucial to the plot of Insidious 2. Carl is one of the most important characters in Insidious 2, and in fact, the Lambert family would still be fucked without him. Elise Rayner dies during the events of the first Insidious before she can hypnotize Josh and Dalton so that they forget how to astral project. But luckily, her friend Carl gets involved with the situation in Insidious Chapter 2 and saves Patrick Wilson's character as well as Ty Simpkins. Where we have left off in the timeline, technically, it was with Josh and Dalton getting like hypnotized for forgetting how to astral project so that they can't go back into the further and have a demon steal their body again, which is of course unfortunately what happened to Josh Lambert during the events of the second film. So if Carl's character is dead and this is the funeral that they're going to, and let's say this is at the very beginning of the movie, then we have Josh drop off his son at college, who then remembers how to astral project. The stakes are even higher now if that's going to be the case, because they won't be able to forget how to astral project again without Carl being around. Elise and Carl are dead now 10 years later after the events of the second film, and they are kind of fucked because every time they go to sleep, they're in the further again and they're freaking the fuck out. They don't know what to do. What will they be able to do to like stop the dreams from happening? Well, I think there are definitely going to be more people out there who can do this. We've already established that there are more people who can go into the further and astral project, including a character played by Jenna Ortega, hilariously enough. I don't think she'll be in this film because she's been filming Scream 6 for like all summer pretty much, but she plays a character named Allison who is being haunted by the lipstick demon at the end of Insidious Chapter 2. The ghost of Elise helps her, which Lin Shaye has not been confirmed to be in this movie yet. We have the entire Lambert family confirmed, but she's not confirmed yet. But man, I think it would be really cool if Lin Shaye came back and helped. Would it be too much like Insidious 2? Probably, but she's just so great. I would not mind more of her in this franchise. Now, I don't think this random side character from the end of Insidious Chapter 2 will come and help the Lambert family randomly out of nowhere, but we do have the character of Imogen Rayner, Elise's niece, which is a really tough sentence to say, and I cannot believe I nailed that on the first take. Wow. Who can also astral project and possibly has the gift that Elise Rayner has. In Insidious: The Last Key, they allude to the idea that maybe Imogen has some of the same psychic powers as Lin Shaye. It's nothing we actually see happen in the film, but there's a possibility that maybe she has some of those same psychic abilities and would be able to hypnotize Josh and Dalton so that they can forget how to astral project. So possibly through Specs and Tucker, whatever they're doing 10 years later, which got fingers crossed that Lee Winnell and Angus Sampson are attached to this project too, maybe this is the key that helps them forget how to astral project again. Maybe she has actually learned how to do hypnosis and all that in the past 10 years, and she's some kind of psychic now. Now, as much as I would love something like that to be the case, they will most likely go the route of just creating a new character who is a psychic as well, but I would love for them to bring back something from the past like this, and they wouldn't have to do that much explaining to do it. But we do have actress Hayam Abbas attached to this project, and I could absolutely seeing her playing an Elise type character. I just hope it doesn't feel like they're just replacing Elise, because man, Lin Shaye is such a standout in these movies. I love some of her cheesy lines of dialogue. It really adds this wonderful camp to these movies that I think is so crucial, and without that, I don't know if an Insidious film will work. Like, I know some people really don't like that, but I think it adds something to it. It makes it feel like an older movie that way, which I think is something so special about this modern horror franchise. And these movies are genuinely terrifying at times, so to throw in like silly, campy lines of dialogue in there every now and then, it's just a wonderful little mix in tone, I think. But they do have a brand new actress playing a brand new psychic character. I just hope she brings that same thing to the table that Lin Shaye brought. Here's hoping for a surprise announcement that Lin Shaye is actually attached to the project. But until then, what do you guys think about Insidious 5 and all these set pictures, all the news that we got about it today? Leave me something about it in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching this new Insidious 5 update. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more horror content. If you want to support this guy with a crazy buzz cut even further, you can support me on Patreon or become a channel member by clicking the join button on my page. Thank you all for watching again, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.